Hey, what's up guys? I'm BTC. Blizzard just updated the Overwatch PTR with a new patch. It has some buffs for Ana and some pretty significant nerfs for Mercy. So I'm going to go over all of these changes, I'm going to break it down, and explain how this is going to affect you on the competitive ladder. Now, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe because I always make videos whenever stuff like this gets updated. So subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss anything. Alright, so only two characters had major changes in this patch, Ana and Mercy. We're going to start with Ana. So her change reads, Bionic Rifle, damage increased from 60 to 70. In the developer comment, Ana has been outshined by other support heroes lately. Boosting her damage will help her defend herself and make her more threatening to the enemy team. So the main reason why they're buffing Ana is because of what was just said. Basically, all the other supports are doing better than her right now. This is because Ana has been nerfed quite a few times. They nerfed the nano boost, they nerfed the biotic grenade, they nerfed her damage. I mean, they just kept nerfing and nerfing and nerfing. And that's because she was so incredibly powerful during the triple tank meta that we had a bunch of seasons back. So they didn't want that anymore, and they just continued to nerf Ana. So now, Ana is kind of in an odd place. She's not terrible by any stretch. She's still a pretty solid healer. The problem is that the other healers just bring more to the game than Ana currently can. And I don't really know if this damage increase is going to change that in any meaningful way. I think more importantly is going to be the nerfs that we see to Mercy that I'm going to get to in just a minute here. But this change to Ana, like, okay, so they gave her a little bit of extra damage, great. Now, don't get me wrong, the extra damage isn't bad, I just don't think it addresses the concerns that Ana is currently facing. So right now, we're kind of in this divey meta, and the two supports of choice are Zenyatta, because he has the orbs that he can throw on pretty much anyone, and also Mercy, because the Resurrect is so powerful. Now, Blizzard is changing the res, again, we'll get to that in just a minute, so I think we're going to probably see a shift out of the divey meta, at least a little bit, and more to a traditional kind of Reinhardt-anchored sort of build. So here's the thing though, it really doesn't matter if the game stays in this kind of dive meta or if it goes back to the Reinhardt anchored meta. It's still going to be the same result for Ana, which is that she's just not going to be good enough. In the dive meta, Ana just doesn't really work, and if it goes back to the traditional Reinhardt anchored, where Ana used to be really good, she still is going to be outshined by Mercy, especially with the changes that just happened, and again, we'll get to those in a minute here. So if it stays dive, then you're just not going to use Ana because she's not that effective, and if it goes back to the Reinhardt anchor, then you're still not going to use Ana because you're going to need the Lucio for the speed boost in order to move the tanks around, and you're going to want Mercy for that new res that she has. So again, it really doesn't matter, and this extra damage boost that she's getting is nice, but it's not really going to change anything, is what I'm trying to get at. Something else I do want to quickly point out, though, is that this damage increase did make Ana's sleep combo a lot better. So before, in order to take out a 200 hit point target, you would have to sleep, shoot, grenade, shoot, and then quick melee in order to take them out. You don't have to add on the quick melee anymore, just the sleep, shoot, grenade, shoot will take out any target that has 200 hit points or less. But now, if you actually do add the quick melee on, you can almost kill a target that has 250 health, so that's pretty good. Alright, so moving on to Mercy. She had a bunch of different changes, and everything kind of focuses around her Resurrect ability. So, Resurrect, cast time increased from 0 seconds to 1.75 seconds. Mercy's movement speed is now reduced by 75% while casting, and it can now be interrupted when Mercy is knocked back, stunned, or hacked. And also for her ultimate Valkyrie, when activated, Resurrection no longer has a cast time. Developer comment, we feel that Mercy's recent rework has been successful, but her Resurrect ability still feels too strong and frustrating to play against. Now that it has a cast time, there is more room for enemies to counter the ability. However, casting Resurrect happens instantly when Valkyrie is active. This should make her feel powerful when she transforms on the battlefield. So I'm sure the biggest question out there now is, well, just how good is Resurrect now? And the answer is, it's still extremely powerful, and it's still probably the strongest ability in the game. And the reason for that is just in the nature of how Resurrect works. So all the other abilities in the game give a slight benefit or a detriment, a buff or debuff, to a character that's already on the battlefield, right? But with Resurrect, it takes someone that's not in the fight anymore, and it brings them back. So there's this kind of huge tempo, momentum shift whenever someone gets resurrected. And because of that inherent nature of the ability, it's either going to be extremely powerful or extremely garbage. Now, this is definitely a nerf, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't really solve the whole Resurrect tempo swing problem. What it does is it just makes Mercy a lot more vulnerable. So the inexperienced Mercy players are going to end up dying a lot more, but the higher skill Mercy players are going to be able to adjust to this and not really have much of a problem. The same way when this whole big design change first was implemented, you saw a lot of the lower bracket Mercy players having some problems with it, but the high skill players are not going to have any problem. The pros in the tournaments are not going to have any problems. Now, what this is going to do is it might actually shift the entire meta away from this kind of divey state that we have right now, because this Resurrect change requires Mercy to be in a much safer location in order to better effectively use the ability. So I'm really glad that they didn't make it so that she just stops moving altogether. That would have been really, really terrible. The fact that she's just really slow is doable. Like, you can deal with that sort of situation. But what it does mean is that when you have a Genji or a Tracer or a Winston or somebody who dies in the back line now, you can't just swoop in, res them, and get out. That doesn't work. However, if you are running Mercy in a dive comp, the optimal situation now is going to be to wait to use your res until you ult. Then you have two of them, you can just swoop in and res whoever. So it doesn't matter if the Genji died behind the enemy lines, because you can just swoop down, res him, and then fly back up in the air, and then you have another res for someone else. So that is going to be the optimal situation in the dive comp. But in a traditional Reinhardt-anchored team comp, none of that is going to be an issue, because Mercy is always going to be in the back. She's going to be surrounded by her teammates, so if someone on her team ends up getting taken out, she can just res them from almost complete safety almost all the time. So what this will end up doing is we're probably going to start to see a little bit of a shift away from the dive, back to more traditional Reinhardt-anchored kind of barrier type stuff. But make no mistake, Mercy is still incredibly powerful. She's still probably going to be the best healer in the game. She's probably still going to have like a 98-99% pick rate. And while these nerfs do hurt Mercy, they're not really going to change the fact that she can still res someone every 30 seconds and twice whenever she ultimates. So, like, the main problem was that Mercy was bringing too many people back into the fight, and it's still going to be there. I don't really see this changing all that much. In the lower or the average skill brackets on the competitive ladder, you're going to end up seeing Mercy dying a lot more because they're going to try to get those risky reses that they really shouldn't be. But at the higher skill brackets in the pro tournaments, I just don't see that being the case. But that's going to be about it for the PTR changes today. What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comments. Also, don't forget to check out my Discord server. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. The links for that stuff is down below. Thanks for watching. Remember, always blame the controller, because it's never your fault. Also, special thanks to all my Patreon supporters for helping to make this all possible. If you'd like to see what kind of cool rewards you can get for supporting the channel, check the links on screen and down below.